all the people out there pitching that you can tell if someone's lying to you just by looking at their face, it's all baloney. In my world, that's baloney.
Like the way you move your eyes or something like that.
Without knowing a baseline, without knowing
For that individual.
then you actually don't know. And an individual's baseline is based on education, culture, life experience, you name it, right? So it's huge. But when you combine facial expressions with body movements, body language, nonverbal cues, and you add on top of that effective elicitation techniques that you are in control of, now you have a more robust platform to tell if someone's lying to you.
So there's like a set of like interrogation trajectories you can go down that can help you figure out a person.
Technically, they're interview
like this podcast.
concepts. Correct. Because an interrogation is something very different than an interview. And in the world of professionals, an interrogation is very different.
What's the difference? The nature of how relaxed the thing is, or what?
So in an interrogation, there's a clear pattern of dominance. There's no equality.
Got it.
Also, there's no escape. You are there until the interrogator is done with you, right? Anybody who's ever been reprimanded by mom and dad knows what an interrogation feels like. Anybody who's ever been called into the principal's office or the boss's office, that's what interrogation feels like. You don't leave until the boss says you can leave. And you're there to answer questions, the boss asks questions. An interview is an equal exchange of ideas. You are in control of this interview, for sure. But if we were having coffee, I could take control if I wanted to take control. If I wanted to ask you personal questions, I would. If I wanted to talk to you about your background, I could.
Why am I in control of this interview exactly?
Because the person in control is the person asking questions.
Always. I'm sitting here, as you've spoken about, my power here is I'm the quiet one listening.
You're exactly right. Guess where this conversation goes?
Yeah.
Anywhere you choose to take it, because you're the one asking questions. Every time I answer a question, I am creating a pattern of obedience to you, which subliminally, subconsciously makes me that much more apt to answer your questions.
Of course, you can always turn that and start asking me questions. It should, but you're saying that there's through through conversation, you can call it interviewing. You can start to see cracks in the story of the person and the degree to which they exaggerate or lie or to see how much they could be trusted, that kind of stuff.
What I'm saying is that through a conversation, you develop a baseline, right? Like even just in the first part of our conversation, I've been able to create some baseline elements about you. Mm-hmm. You've been able to create baseline elements about me. Maybe they're just not front of mind. From those baselines, now we can push through more intentional questions to test.
Got it.
To test whether or not the person is being truthful because they're operating within their baseline, or if you are triggering sensitivities outside of their baseline, and then you can start to see their tells.
That's fascinating. Yeah, baseline, like even like the tells, right? The eye contact. Like you've probably already formed a baseline that I have trouble making eye contact, and so if you ask me difficult questions and I'm not making eye contact, maybe that's not a good signal of me lying or whatever.
Correct.
Because I always have trouble making eye contact, stuff like that. That's really fascinating.
The majority of your eye movement is to the right.
Yeah.
Your right, my left.
Yes.
Right, which is usually someone who's, if you ask micro-expressionists, that's someone who's referencing fact.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily what's happening for you because you're pulling concepts out of the air. So it's also a place where you reference something other than fact. It's a place for you to find creativity.
Yeah.
So if I just thought that you were lying because you look up into the right, I would be wrong.